Chapter 24 is not only the final to the Season 3 of The Mandalorian, but the final to basically an entire arc of the story. While some episodes of the third season of The Mandalorian have been hit or miss, this episode gives us a conclusion and promises us more adventures with Din Djarin and Grogu. The fight scenes in this episode were exquisite, and though the world building can't really compare to the Shadow Council scene last episode, it sets some interesting things up for the future. So what does the final say, and where is the Star Wars universe heading? Let's take a look. Greetings my young Padawans, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Star Wars Now. This has been The Mandalorian Season 3. Wow. Before we jump into this video, like always, we ask you to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the Star Wars Now team. There's plenty coming up over the next couple of months, you don't want to miss it. Okay, let's go. Last chapter we had a cliffhanger of the Mando fleet in immediate danger from the forces of Moff Gideon's base on Mandalore, as well as Din Djarin being captured by Gideon. Why did Gideon capture Din? Does this episode explain that? Not directly. Considering we know that Gideon wanted to make clones that were perfect amalgamations of all great cultures from Imperial, Mandalorian and Jedi, I expect him kidnapping Din was a plot to recapture Grogu, to get his clones the Force, which we'll get to in a bit later. Anyway, with Din captured, it doesn't take him too long to get uncaptured. When Grogu rescues him, Grogu rescuing Din is weird and is a small example of some of the large issues I do have with this episode. It very much makes sense, and it's very much just walking in a straight line to get there, but not explaining how they get from point A to point B, such as why is Grogu here catching him to Din, and how did he get separated from Bo? Is this just force speed? I don't know. Grogu has saved Din a couple of times this season, wildly enough, so really I would say Grogu has earned more favours towards Din than the other way around at this point. A great action sequence while this is going on was Din fighting through the force field section against the duo of Imperial Super Commandos. Even though the section defies much logic as the shield section in The Phantom Menace, but stops Obi-Wan getting from Qui-Gon, it's kinda cool. Din fighting the guards in better numbers and taking their weapon as he goes along is great. It's worth mentioning that Din has been stripped of basically all the weapons he's really known for. He doesn't have his rifle that was blown up past season, he doesn't have the Darksaber that was given away this season, and he lost everything else. In the last episode we had Axe Woves going to warn the Mandalorian fleet of the attack to get the reinforcements to defeat the Imperials on the ground. This led many people to believe he could have been a spy for Moff Gideon, but he's not. Neither's the armor, by the way. I am surprised his jetpack allows him to go all the way into the atmosphere, but I guess the last time we saw the extensive Mandalorian jetpacks was earlier this season, and they seemingly last for a couple of hours. Axe is going to use the light cruiser as a decoy, while the remaining Mandalorians escape to their dropships to go down. Another character people thought was going to end up as a spy for Moff Gideon was the armor, like I just mentioned. There had been a lot of evidence pointing to that, and it just doesn't happen. She turns to help Bo-Katan with reinforcements, though I do have to wonder what happened to all the injured people the armor took up to the Mandalorian fleet. Were they still in the dropships? Who knows. Obviously we know that Mandalore used to be a lush Viridian planet, before it was bombed to hell and back. And that was before the Empire bombed them to hell and back as well. So to see that life can still flourish on this planet is not only cool to see, but also inspiring for Bo and her people. Life and hope can still flourish against the force of the Empire and their plans, whether it be the destruction of their planet or the plans of Moff Gideon. However, I do wish we got more of a breather here, have them reflect on the fact the planet is coming back, and have hope for the future or something to spur them after their ambush, and of course, Paz Vizsla sacrificing himself. Let them come to understand, along with the audience, what this means to them, and why they have to go back and fight. However, they just spend like 2 minutes in this cave, catching a breath, and then go back into action against the Imperials. It's cool, but also eh. With that being said, the scene of the Imperial Super Commandos versus the Mandalorians was beautiful to see, but was quite hectic and hard to see. We had some cool action of Bo wielding a Darksaber in the air, and even the armor coming in with a jetpack and just destroying people with their weaponry. I will say, like I said last week, I love they're including the Praetorian Guards here. Obviously these seem to be a precursor to the elite Praetorian Guards in The Last Jedi, and to see them being very brutal and effective here just adds to how much that scene in The Last Jedi is so good, in my opinion. While Din and Grogu are fighting the Praetorians, it is Bo versus Gideon time, this time the Darksaber versus Gideon's Electro Staff. It's a cool fight, but the implication of this fight is even cooler. Gideon destroys the Darksaber, this ancient Mandalorian artifact which Bo believes she needed to lead the Mandalorians, but just like what Din said last episode, he doesn't follow her because of a trinket, he follows her because of her character and what she represents. Sure, the Darksaber opened the door to getting Axe Woves and his Mandalorian faction on board the plan to retake Mandalore and ally with the Children of the Watch. But though actually defeating the ISB agent responsible for the purge of Mandalore and her leading a force to retake their homeworld is enough to have all Mandalorians follow her, and we see that at the end of this episode. Mandalorians are stronger together, which is your quite typical tropey line from these kind of shows and movies. But it works here, with Din and Bo defeating Gideon as the light cruiser comes crashing down into the base. Talking about Grogu's proficiency in the Force earlier, seeing him defend against a torrent of flames as the light cruiser is crashing, using the Force to push the flames away from the group is nice. I was about to last seeing Bo just holding her tiny arm shield over Grogu, considering this episode kind of sets up the flames do very little to Mandalorian armor, with the amount of times flamethrowers are used in this episode, so I'm glad it's Grogu saving the day here. It does also remind me from Kanan's sacrifice in Star Wars Rebels, where he pushed the flames away for a moment to save the Ghost crew. In the end, The Mandalorian Season 3 defied expectations by basically walking in an exact straight line to its goal, whether that goal was visible or not. People expected some sort of twist, but no, it went exactly as predicted. The Mandalorians defeated Moff Gideon and his Imperial Remnant, and retook their planet. Everyone survived all the battles, including Axe, who jumped out of a window at the last second before the light cruiser hit the base. Look, it's rather cliche, okay, but it works. It will obviously take a long time to rebuild Mandalore, so for the moment, the Mandalorians will probably be squatting in the ruins of their domed city of Sundari, but at least they have some other banners and flags to make it feel a bit more like home. Grogu looks into the water and seemingly sees a mythosaur, which considers this type of ending I was actually expecting a mythosaur to wink at the camera. Everything worked out well, but I'm glad he didn't because that would have taken me out of the episode a little bit and I would want to see the mythosaur do something, but I guess we'll save that for another day. We'll see the heart of the Mandalorian society be rekindled, with the reignition of a Great Forge. This season's had a lot of talk of Forge being the heart of Mandalorian culture, and the significance of the Great Forge, so the symbolism is not lost here. It's weird that some Mandalorians are still allowed to keep their helmets off, Bo especially, so I'm assuming this new Mandalorian society will have the Church of the Children of the Watch and then just normal everyday Mandalorians. If you want to follow the creed, you keep your helmet on, and your spiritual leader is the armorer. The main leader is Bo-Katan. I wonder what the separation of church and state will be in this new society. Hopefully it's something we get to learn at a later date. Overall, the ending of this episode all seems to set up whatever this show will go on from here. In somewhat of a soft reboot of the show, no longer dealing with Moff Gideon and the fate of the Mandalorians as a people, with Din being tasked to take Grogu on adventures and journeys. Chapter 24 is titled The Return and is written by Jon Favreau and directed by Rick Famuyiwa. In somewhat of an annoying approach, Rick said this episode that it will bring resolution to the stories of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Still, I feel like some elements have not been solved here. Additionally, I think the season final, which feels more like a series final, could have done more establishing what is next in the Star Wars universe. It leaves itself very open-ending, which isn't a problem, it just could have been better. The penultimate episode of the third season technically did that, introducing the Imperial Shadow Council to canon and further hinting that Grand Moff Thrawn is basically returning. It kicks off the Ahsoka Tano series we've got coming in August. With this being the season finale, how did season 3 feel? How does it change our views on The Mandalorian as a show? The Mandalorian has some great ideas, with some amazing visuals, music and effects, and the production design this season as well as the costuming has really upped its game. The Imperial Super Commandos and Moff Gideon's Dark Trooper suit are absolutely amazing. Din throughout the season has also been extremely passive to the plot, with most of the force pushing the plot being Bo-Katan. This has led people to viewing this season of Mandalorian with Bo-Katan as the main character, and Din purely as a side character, which is a fair assessment and may show the way going forward. I will say I like where the season ends and where it's heading. A Rangers of the New Republic style show within the show for the next season, with the Din family hunting down Imperial forces for the New Republic. We'll have to see. We don't have any Mandalorian for a while, with the next piece of media in this time period being Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew, which are both going to be in different places from where the Mandalorian currently is. But with Ahsoka, who knows whether the Mandalorian will appear as reinforcements unofficially sent by the New Republic. Could be a way of doing it. Okay, Exalted Ones, that's it for myself. Do let us know what you thought in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news, lore and more. You can follow us on social media as well, but make sure to let us know what you think in the video comment section below and on social media. Because if you're talking Star Wars, then we want to hear about it. For now, I've been Captain Jack. Thank you very much for watching. This has been the end of The Mandalorian's third season. We'll see you very soon as we discuss the potential season 4 and much much more. May the Force be with you, everyone. Goodbye.